There were three types of cells. There were the holding cells, square rooms, the floor covered with straw, with enough space for 3 adult men to lie side by side. There were always 5 men in any cell, packed so tightly that one man couldn't scratch himself without the others also moving, a human jigsaw puzzle of limbs. Since there was no latrine, space had to be made for the bucket, which the men were obliged to use in each other's company. Once it was brimming, prisoners were made to carry it to the nearest drain and told that if they spilled even the smallest drop, they would be shot. Leo would listen to the guards discussing the prisoners' comical expressions of concentration as they stared. Child 44. It's about a secret police officer, Leo Stefanovich Demidov, who is trying to catch Russia's first serial killer. In trying to catch him, because Soviet Russia refused to admit that a serial killer could even exist, he is risking his life, the life of his wife, and the life of his parents. Yeah, I was working on a screenplay, adaptation of a Jeff Noon short story, which was about serial killers in the future and the way in which they were treated. And so I started researching serial killers, and I stumbled across Andrei Chikatilo, who murdered in the 1980s in Russia. He murdered 55. The reason I decided to move it to Stalinist Russia from the 80s, when Andrei Chikatilo murdered, was because it made sense from a thriller point of view to set the story when the stakes would be the highest, when you would, in 1950s Russia, you would lose your life for opposing the state. You would, your wife might lose her life, your entire family might lose their life. You could be arrested for anything. You could be arrested because your neighbor denounced you, you could be arrested because your wife no longer loved you, your wife might denounce you to the police. Anyone could denounce you for anything. And really, everyone was living in this constant state of fear because no one knew who would be next. And the reason I think it's so interesting from a thriller point of view is that in thrillers you're always trying to find what is the danger, what is putting people in danger. In Stalinist Russia, everyone was in danger all of the time. Yeah, the gulags were what they seemed to be, just a prison system, except that the numbers going to them were extraordinary. I think in the 1950s it was several million people were incarcerated. And I think the way they're depicted now is that they're just these very inhospitable prisons, people being made to work in sub-zero temperatures, given food rations that were so tiny there's simply no way you could survive on them. So I think, this sense that they were just places to incarcerate people is just not true. They were places to die. There were all kinds of punishments for all kinds of people. The imagination was the only barrier, and not much of one at that. All these horrors seem small when placed beside the size and magnitude of the greater good, the greater good, the greater good.